Hi friends, we are in the city of Florence in Italy. Florence is the capital city of the Italian region of Tuscany. It is also the most populated city in Tuscany. Florence was a center of medieval European trade and finance and one of the wealthiest cities of that era. Florence was the birthplace of high Renaissance art, which lasted from circa 1500 to 1527. From the 14th to 16th centuries, Florence rose to a position of enormous influence in Italy, Europe, and beyond. From 1865 to 1871, Florence city served as the capital of the Kingdom of Italy. The Florentine dialect forms the base of Standard Italian, and it became the language of culture throughout Italy due to the prestige of the masterpieces by Dante, Petrarch, Boccaccio, Machiavelli, and Guicciardini. The city attracts millions of tourists each year, and UNESCO declared the historic center of Florence a World Heritage Site in 1982. The city is noted for its culture, Renaissance art and architecture, and monuments. Due to Florence's artistic and architectural heritage, Forbes ranked it as one of the most beautiful cities in the world in 2010. Florence plays an important role in Italian fashion and is ranked in the top 15 fashion capitals of the world by Global Language Monitor. The Florentine merchant banking skills became recognized in Europe after they brought decisive financial innovation. For example, bills of exchange and double entry bookkeeping system. Tourism is the most significant industry in central Florence. From April to October, tourists outnumber the local population. In 2010, readers of Travel Plus Leisure magazine ranked the city as their third favorite tourist destination. In 2015, Condé Nast Travel readers voted Florence as the best city in Europe. Most important artists associated with Florence are Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo. Artists from other regions who worked in Florence include Raphael. The Galleria dell'Accademia has Michelangelo's David, which was created between 1501 and 1504 and is perhaps the best known work of art anywhere. Florence's literature fully blossomed in the 14th century with Dante's Divine Comedy and Petrarch's poetry anthology Canzoniere. Dante's masterpiece is the Divine Comedy, which mainly deals with the poet himself taking an allegoric and moral tour of hell, purgatory, and finally heaven, during which he meets numerous mythological or real characters of his age or before. He is first guided by the Roman poet Virgil, whose non-Christian beliefs damned him to hell. Later on, he is joined by Beatrice, who guides him through heaven. In the 14th century, Petrarch and Boccaccio led the literary scene in Florence after Dante's death in 1321. Petrarch was an all-rounder, a writer, author, and poet, but was particularly known for his Canzoniere, or anthology of poems, where he conveyed his unremitting love for Laura. In the 16th century, during the Renaissance, Florence was the hometown of political writer and philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli, whose ideas on how rulers should govern the land, detailed in his book The Prince, spread across European courts and enjoyed enduring popularity for centuries. These principles became known as Machiavellianism. A short distance from here, there is a vantage viewpoint on top of a hill known as Michelangelo Square, which has some replicas of Michelangelo's statues. This is the place for the best view of Florence, Italy, giving you a beautiful 360-degree view of Florence and the surrounding areas. Here we can click photos of the winding river Arno and enjoy the view over the Florentine skyline and the Tuscan hills. In this square, you can see the replica of Michelangelo's statue of David. The original is now kept in the Galleria dell'Accademia. King David is one of the most prominent figures in the Bible. He is known for his bravery, piety, and leadership, and is considered one of Israel's greatest kings. David's story begins with the humble beginnings as a shepherd boy, but he quickly rose to prominence when he defeated the giant Goliath with just a sling and a stone. He became a trusted advisor of King Saul, but after Saul's death, David was anointed as the new king of Israel. King David is known for his military conquests, including the capture of Jerusalem, which he made the capital of Israel. He also established a strong central government and made many reforms to help the people of Israel. However, David was not without his flaws. He committed adultery with Bathsheba and then arranged for her husband to be killed in the battle. Despite this, David is still revered for his devotion to God and his commitment to the people of Israel. Okay, come on, repeat that.
This is not the original David which was carved by Michelangelo.
Okay.
The original is in a gallery in the city of Florence.
Okay.
We need to book advance tickets for
Okay.
that. And this is just a replica of that statue.
Okay.
And we can see that here.
Okay, thank you. David is a masterpiece of Renaissance sculpture created in marble between 1501 and 1504 by the Italian artist Michelangelo. David is a larger than life marble statue of 17 feet. David was originally commissioned as one of a series of statues of prophets to be positioned along the roof line of the east end of the Florence Cathedral, but was instead placed in a public square outside the Palazzo Vecchio, the seat of civic government in Florence, where it was unveiled on 8th September 1504. The statue was moved to the Galleria dell'Accademia, Florence, in 1873 and later replaced at the original location by a replica. Because of the nature of the hero it represented, the statue soon came to symbolize the defense of civil liberties embodied in the Republic of Florence, an independent city-state threatened on all sides by more powerful rival states and by the hegemony of the Medici family. The eyes of David, with a warning glare, were fixated towards Rome. Michelangelo's David has become one of the most recognized works of Renaissance sculpture, a symbol of strength and youthful beauty. The colossal size of the statue alone impressed Michelangelo's contemporaries. During World War II, along with Michelangelo's other sculptures in the Accademia, David was also packed in sand and entombed in brick to protect it from being damaged. So that is the bridge standing on which Michelangelo had the view of this Florence city. No.
That is the bridge which Adolf Hitler didn't want to destroy.
Okay.
This is the point where he got the inspiration.
Okay. You see that?
Michelangelo got
Wait.
inspiration.
This is the only bridge which Hitler did not destroy. And Michelangelo stood at this point and had a view of this beautiful city of Florence and got inspiration to do his paintings. Statue of David by Michelangelo, but this is not the original statue which is there in the Florence Museum. It's a replica, but still it has historic value. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is in the city of Pisa in Tuscany, a region in west central Italy. More specifically, the tower is on the grounds of the city's cathedral complex known as the Square of Miracles. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is known for its nearly 4-degree lean, the result of an unstable foundation. The tower is one of the 3 structures in the Pisa's cathedral square, which includes the cathedral dedicated to Virgin Mary and the Pisa Baptistry of St. John. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is a freestanding bell tower of Pisa Cathedral. The construction of Tower of Pisa began in August 1173 and completed in 1372. Construction was halted for almost a century due to a series of wars. Till today, the name of the architect is a mystery. Leaning Tower of Pisa was designed as a circular bell tower that would stand 185 feet high. The tower has 8 stories, including the chamber for the bells. The bottom story consists of 15 marble arches. Each of the next 6 stories contains 30 arches that surround the tower. The final story is the bell chamber itself, which has 16 arches. There is a 297 step spiral staircase inside the tower leading to the top. With the 207 columns ranged around 8 stories, the Tower of Pisa looks like a massive wedding cake. Pisa Cathedral, Santa Maria Assunta, is a medieval Catholic cathedral dedicated to the Assumption of the Virgin Mary. The cathedral is the oldest of the three structures in the Square of Miracles, followed by the Pisa Baptistery and the Campanile, known as the Leaning Tower of Pisa. The cathedral is a notable example of Romanesque architecture, in particular the style known as Pisan Romanesque. Construction began in circa 1063 and was completed in 1092. Additional enlargements and a new facade were built in the 12th century, and the roof was replaced after damage from a fire in 1595. Consecrated in 1118 by Pope Gelasius II, it is now the seat of the Archbishop of Pisa. The December 1187 papal election took place in this Pisa cathedral, with Paulino Scolari being elected Pope Clement III. The cathedral's present appearance is the result of numerous restoration campaigns that were carried out in different eras. The first radical interventions occurred after the fire of 1595. The original building plan was a Greek cross with a grand cupola at the crossing, but today the plan is a Latin cross. The Pisa Baptistery of St. John is a Roman Catholic ecclesiastical building in Pisa. Construction started in 1152 to replace an older baptistery, and when it was completed in 1363, the baptistery was designed by Diotisalvi, whose signature can be read on the two pillars inside the building with the date 1153. It is the largest baptistery in Italy, with 55 meter high with a diameter of 34 meters. The Pisa Baptistery is an example of the transition from the Romanesque style to the Gothic style. The white marble baptistery is in many ways the most beautiful building. It combines a round Romanesque base with Gothic upper floors with dainty details. The white of the marble is often offset beautifully by the green lawn, red roof, and blue skies. The Campo Santo, or the monumental cemetery, is a historical edifice at the northern edge of the cathedral square in Pisa. Campo Santo can be literally translated as holy field, because it is said to have been built around a shipload of sacred soil from Golgotha, brought back to Pisa from the Third Crusade by Ubaldo Lanfranchi, Archbishop of Pisa, in the 12th century. A legend claims that bodies buried in that ground will rot in just 24 hours. The burial ground lies over the ruins of the old baptistery of the Church of Santa Reparta, the church that once stood where the cathedral now stands. There is a little known Jewish cemetery as well, adjacent to the city walls and close to the monumental Christian cemetery. The area of Pisa was among the first areas in Europe where Jewish communities settled, and it is only second to the community in Rome in order of importance. The reason why so many Jews chose the Pisan area as their home is probably that at the time Pisa was a major commercial center, and they worked as intermediaries between the Christian and the Islamic communities in the trades in the Mediterranean. The Pisa city walls once completely surrounded the medieval city of Pisa and ran for almost 4.3 miles, protecting it from invaders. They stood 36 feet high with 7 feet constructed beneath the ground. The 12th century walls still surround the historic city center on the north bank of the Arno River. The building of Pisa's walls began in 1154 in the area of the city north of the Arno River. The construction lasted until 1161, followed by a further completion in 1284. In the area of south of the Arno, the walls building was completed in 1186. The walls of Pisa, currently visible at the farther end of the Miracle Square beyond the baptistry and partially walkable, are the still existing part of the medieval city walls and one of the oldest national examples of almost completely preserved city walls.